Well, you make it on the show, but you're wanted by the police.
Yeah.
So how does that get worked out?
So basically, I'm calling, checking in on my mother, making sure she good, because I'm up here on a run out of Philly jurisdiction, and she just was complaining about them calling and asking my whereabouts, and I didn't want that stress to fall on my mother. So I went to the staff at the competition and asked them, not really asking them, but telling them that I wouldn't be able to continue with the competition because I had some legal issues in Philly that I had to face, and they couldn't be ignored anymore. So to answer your question, I did have to turn myself in because I was evading the law in Philadelphia. So I went to the staff to actually see if they can give me some type of assistance. So they actually did give me a letterhead written by Puff telling Philly jurisdiction that I was a contestant that was a hopeful to be making the actual group, and that it would be wise for them, if they could, to let me continue with the competition in New York. And it worked.
Oh, wow, because it could have gone the total opposite direction.
Yeah, like,
so what?
What I was facing the thing that I was facing was a violation. So it's not no negotiation. I stopped reporting. I had hot urines. I did all the wrong things. So up until that point, anytime I would have went down there, I would have been rearrested.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got lucky. And of course, the Diddy letter didn't hurt.
Lucky like a motherfucker.
Okay, so now you start filming, and, well, you said that Diddy, used making the band to try to revitalize his image because the whole Shine incident that just happened.
Yeah, in my opinion, that was just kind of his way of giving some young, raw, untapped potential cats from the inner city a chance at, superstardom. And it was kind of like the opposite of what you was used to from Puff, you know what I'm saying? Being a bad boy of the industry. You dig me?
It's ironic, in terms of where we are today in that whole situation.
Right.
Now, are you still filming as the show is coming out? Or is it like the whole season's filmed and then the whole show comes out?
Well, as you go on, you start to learn the mechanics of the show. It's 13 weeks. 13 weeks for filming and maybe 4 to 6 weeks for editing. So we would film for 13 weeks and then the editing floor would take from 4 to 6 weeks. So actually, we're home watching the edited versions of the show the same time y'all are, the consumer is.
Got it. So it's filmed, edited, and then it all comes out later on. So basically you're watching a bunch of stuff that happened in the last couple months, essentially.
Yeah, maybe 5 to 6 months, 5
to 6 months, right. Okay, so what was it like to suddenly be on TV? And MTV was a much bigger deal back then.
Way bigger.
Right, so
it ain't like how it is now. You see how the cameras celebrated in this era, this climate? It was a big no-no back then. Nobody wanted to be on camera. Nobody wanted to let us in their establishment to film. Nobody wanted the camera around. It was hard for people to sign off and clearances and stuff like that. It was only a certain handful of people that kind of like embraced us and wanted us to come in and film and had a whole camera crew, the boom mics and all that type of stuff.
Well, the show starts and the viral moment wasn't viral back then. That term didn't really exist, but if you consider what viral is these days, was the whole Cheesecake situation.
Yep, Cheesecake.
Now you blamed yourself for antagonizing Diddy into that whole thing?
I do it a little bit. I'm a Scorpio and Diddy's a Scorpio, so that was just two Scorpios kind of like, you gotta understand, coming from the inner city and signing with Bad Boy, you think is a magic wand, car, crib, bank account filled up, but they really wanted us to kind of be appreciative of the opportunity. And Diddy comes from an era where he don't turn you up. He wants you to work for everything like he did. Like he had to go run and get dry cleaning and wash cars and run little errands. He believes that system is what makes a good artist.
Okay, now the whole background of the Cheesecake. Now, when I interviewed Chopper, he said it was actually for Beyonce.
Yeah, I seen that. I don't remember that. I remember her being in the studio recording for like a maybe a soundtrack or some type of movie score, but I never knew it was for her. And actually, we was in the lounge. See, Daddy's house is made up of a numerous of rooms. So you got the MIDI room, you got Studio A, Studio B. Then the hallway where we was singing the Biggie, It Was All a Dream, that's another kind of like walkway. Then when you go around there, when you hit the corner, is his lounge. That's where I battled Jay Mills at. So it's like Daddy's house is like is on an office building. It's on West 44th Street between 8th and Broadway. And then it's like kind of like, I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's kind of like, cause I never knew like New York could work that way. I never knew you could like rent space over here and then people got this private space over here, then you walk down the hall, you got these 3 rooms, and I thought the whole floor was just his, but come to find out it wasn't. So he owned certain rooms on the floor, but all of it was Daddy's house recording. It belonged to Daddy's house recording.
Well, what led to him actually saying, you guys got to walk all the way to Brooklyn?
Because I was antagonizing him. I was like, yo, where the bread at? Where the car at? We need the vehicle so we can get around. This is a reality show. You know, I was going off the Real World or all the previous past reality shows where they be in the car and they get a car to move around and the cameras be in the car. You know what I mean? Documenting, you know what I'm saying, the whole shit. So like that's what I thought. I was saying like not buy me a car personally so I could ride around Philly. I'm like, yo, where the V at? So we could get around, like so we could learn the city. He like, what you mean with V? So I kind of antagonized him and he was like, you know what? Y'all don't need a vehicle. Y'all need to, get some air in y'all lungs. Brooklyn is that way. I love juniors. Come back with that. Go get that. Come back with that. And that's how that went down. It just was us vibing, like talking shit, and he just freestyled and it was like, matter of fact, go give me some cheesecake.
Right. Did anyone have any idea how far that walk was?
No. But let me tell you this, Vlad.
Hold on, because I just want to say, for everyone watching this, there was no Google Maps during that time.
No, it took 6 hours.
No one even had a GPS.
It took 6 hours, 3 hours up and 3 hours back.
Right. Like you had no idea even getting into it what you're about to encounter.
You got to understand, this is before iPhones. This is before GPS. This is before a lot of, my first phone was a chirp phone from Nextel. That was my first phone as an adult. So you could, that right there tells you what technology was back then.
Right. Right. So you guys are going on this multi-hour walk.
I thought we was being trolled. Back then it wasn't a word, but I thought we was being trolled. But we really did have to walk. But it was just a way for us to bond. It was a military tactic. It was a way to, even if we got mad at him, we kind of bonded in that walk. Like, we together now. It's us against everybody. And that was the plan. That was the mission.
Well, you said that whole situation about being made to walk to Brooklyn and back, depending on who you talk to, people look at it differently. Like, for example, the college crowds look at it like, oh, that's kind of cool. That's a frat prank. And,
right.
The urban crowds looking at it kind of like, well, that's kind of demeaning. Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So how did you deal with that kind of back and forth?
It was pushback from all those areas, Vlad, from the urban area, from, everybody felt some type of way about it. Me, I walk further than that to sell a pregnant person a illegal substance. So I had no shame. At that point in my life, I don't give a fuck what I had to walk for. I had legal issues. I was just ready to go on with my life and kind of make things better. And I didn't really feel no type of way about it. I thought he was playing, but then when he came outside, told us to actually walk, I was like, oh yeah, he really serious. And it just became a thing of, it grew a thing of his own. We actually documented in juniors on a Hall of Fame, the whole walk, how long it took, everything in juniors.
Yeah. Yeah, this is before there was a juniors in Manhattan, where you guys could have saved a whole lot of time.
Yeah, right. Babs knew exactly where it was because she was from Brooklyn. So she the one who kind of reacted in a way first because she was like, I know how long that is, Ness. I know how. She was like, I might as well just walk up the street and go home. So she was really pissed. Me, I kind of wasn't pissed. I was 24, going on 25, going on 20, and I just was ready to get on with my life. I had been waiting so long. I had got incarcerated. I had kind of missed that whole wave when the industry came to Philly and kind of grabbed all the Philly artists, Most Wanted, Beanie Siegel, Eve, The Roots, Major Figures. Like, that was era 99-2000. I missed that whole era. So the making the band competition was like my only last way in to somebody is that stature of P. Diddy or Jay-Z, Timbaland, somebody like that.
Well, I mean, outside of the whole walk to Brooklyn, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that, you know, certain people looked at sideways. Like, you guys have to use the same soap and same rags, same toothbrushes, that type of thing?
Yeah, they wanted to. They was thinking about it. But those are some of the things that the fraternities do to their pledges. It's the same shit. They made us sleep in the Best Western, all 2-bedroom Best Western. Just a little scavenger hunt bullshit. But being in prison under those conditions and coming to that's a bonus. That's that was a bonus. So me, I mean, I did my little complaining and bitching, but I mean, I wasn't too really kind of like, I was happy to be here because I had got out of my legal situation, and now I'm potentially about to make music for somebody that's been in the game roughly for the past 10 years successfully. Dig what I'm saying?
Well, you and Freddy P got into a fist fight.
Yeah. Shout out to Freddy P.
Yeah, I mean, you guys were close up to that point.
The cameras turned us up, Vlad. It was like our kryptonite. As soon as the camera's off, we the best of friends, kumbaya, hugs, high fives, sharing is caring. As soon as the cameras get on, everything is kind of like elevated. The slightest remark or disdain or smart remark can turn into a physical altercation. So that was the thing with me and Fred. And they always kind of put us two against each other. Whether they was planting false information, something that I said or something he said, they just was trying to put us two against each other because it made good for TV. But off camera, we was straight.